Testing. 1, 2, 3, check. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Check. Okay. Hello again, everybody. I'm Larry Hamilton. Welcome to my YouTube painting channel. Thank you for watching. I'm trying this broadcasting live again for the first time since March, and I'm glad to be back. I hope there's not a lot of static in the audio. I was hearing some while ago and I was trying to debug it, but hopefully this is going to work. Anyway, I'm really glad to be back live, and today we're going to do a watercolor. As a matter of fact, that's about all I'm going to be doing on the video from now on is watercolor. I don't have the studio space and the materials to actually do more than watercolor, so that's all you'll be seeing on my channel now going forward. Today we're going to do an old barn that I actually did a practice of here a few days ago, and just trying to get my skills back in shape a little bit, trying to remember how to do some things. And so I want to go over to the computer and I'll show you a couple of things that I've done, a couple of extra photos that I have, and then I'll come back and we'll go through the paints and brushes and get going. So hold on just a second, I'll be right back. Actually, I just realized I didn't have the right video on the screen here. I just walked over, so I want to say to you I'm glad to be back. I don't know if you heard all of that. It may have been playing over the piano music or talking over the piano music. And so I'm going to go through a few things here of the painting we're going to do. It's one that I did the other day. I did sort of a draft of it, a smaller version. We're going to do a larger version today and see if I can get some of my skills back here with the live broadcasting and painting. So here's the small version I did of a painting, just an old barn sitting out in a field, kind of a bright sunny day. So we're going to try to do that. I took it and actually put a grid on it so you can actually download it, and if you want to sort of lay it out according to the grid, you can do that. I also took all the color out of it and sort of left the really dark darks and lighter lights so you can see the pattern of light and dark in this. And so if that was enough, I wanted to try something really different while I was trying to get some of my skills back working here. And I did an abstract. I don't do too many abstracts, but I want to show you this just to show you what I did. And several people like it. It just took me about 25 minutes on a big sheet of paper, and had a lot of fun doing it. So this is some of my practice things I've been working on since I stopped broadcasting and had recovery from my cancer. So anyway, we're going to go back and we're going to do this painting, and hope you like that abstract. If you do, by the way, maybe we'll do an abstract again someday. I'm going to go back over to the easel now, and we'll get started with the painting, and I'll go through the paints and brushes with you. Hold on. Okay, I'm back at my easel now. I'm working in a much smaller space than I had to work with before, and so anyway, I hope you'll bear with me a little bit while I'm working on this. And if you're online, you can don't join into the chat. I have a chat window open here. If you want to talk to me, you can type some things in. I'll try to remember to look at the chat window and maybe respond to you here. It's amazing how much you forget when you don't do this stuff for about 6 months, so I'm kind of getting reoriented here. Okay, brushes. This is my Sterling Edwards brush set and palette set. I have these medium and small bristle brushes here that I use for blending and wetting the paper and that sort of thing. I have a couple of flats, that 1 inch flat and a ½ inch flat. I have 3 rounds, a number 12, a number 8, a number 4, round, and then I have a number 6 rigger. So those are the brushes, and we'll be using some of those, maybe not all of them, but that's what we have to work with this painting set. I also have the same paints that Sterling Edwards has in his palette at the current time, and I'll go around the palette here and give those to you as well. Here in this lower corner, I got them arranged dark to light to red, cool to warm, I should say, and it is dark to light. Payne's Gray here. These are Holbein transparent watercolors, and very beautiful watercolors. They're all transparent. Payne's Gray, Cobalt Blue, Ultramarine Deep Blue, Prussian Blue, Permanent Violet, Hooker's Green, Umber, Burnt Sienna, Quinacridone Scarlet, Bright Rose, Brilliant Orange, Quinacridone Gold, Permanent Yellow Deep, and Cad Yellow Lemon. So those are the brushes or the paints, and we'll get going here, and I'm going to zoom my camera out and try to actually I want to zoom it in actually and try to get it lined up so I can have my palette and my painting surface on the screen for you here. If I can get this my adjustments to move here. I have to turn everything on. Minor little detail there. Okay, let me see here. There we go. That's what I wanted to happen. So I think you should be able to see that pretty well. And I'm going to put my palette on here now and see if it lines up. Okay, I'll try to keep that palette in the lower right corner during the broadcast so you can see what I'm doing during the broadcast. And then when I re-edit these at the end of the video, I put a new edited video together for the final. So I will rearrange this a little bit when I do the editing, and we'll try to minimize where the palette overlaps the painting. Okay, so I have a very rough sketch here that you can see on the left here where I had my right here. This is the painting that I'm going to try to do. I got a photo of it up here, and I have a watercolor sketch of it here. So this is only about 8 by 10 or something like that. So I've rough sketched in the same thing here on this. There's no other sketch for this. It's really just sort of freehand, and get it. There we go. Okay, so now you can see the whole thing. Okay, so we're going to start now with getting some clear water on here. I'm going to start with the wet and wet process, and these photos, the black and white version, the grid, and the original photo are all out on my website, and there are links below this video to use, and you can go out there and download these for your own use. And as you know, I'm in a new studio space here, which is an apartment building, and I'm on a closed-in lanai, or sort of a sun porch, if you call it like that. And I just hear they're also mowing the grass outside, so I'm going to have a bunch of noise to contend with. I maybe need to change my date and time of my paintings. I think this is the second time I've had to put up with the noise from the lawn crew outside. So anyway, I'll try to talk over it, and hopefully it won't be too annoying. I don't know. I have no way of taking out this extra noise that comes into this room. So anyway, just wetting this down, getting it really good and wet as I can, and we're going to start with a nice set of sunny colors. I want to put some, get some of my Ultra Blue in here, and we'll use that as our main color. We'll probably gray it down a little bit with some burnt sienna, and so burnt sienna, you can add burnt sienna to Ultra Blue, and you get a very nice gray color, gray down color, and then you can use different values. You can have more blue, and it'll be to the blue side. You can have more burnt sienna, it will be to the brown side or warm side. So let's just start up here and start popping in some of this stuff while this canvas or this paper is wet. And just want to put in some sky, change the color a little bit, add a little bit of my gray it down just a little, and actually I want to add just a little of my red in there. I want to warm it up just a little more than the there's a little warmer color, something like that, and we'll just run it down here, down like this, and so I'm just throwing on very quickly here to get some coverage and down to the, so that's pretty much the background and sky. It's really kind of hard for you to see probably. I may just put a little more blue in this on the right hand side to kind of add a little more color contrast. Right now it looks like it's all pretty much one color, and I'll change it just a little here, and because it's all still wet, this is all going to just merge together, and I won't have a lot of hard edges in it because it's all, the paper's still wet. Okay, so that's pretty much the sky that I want to put out there, and we'll let that marinate for a little while and get kind of merged together. If I want to, I can soften some edges, and typically I do that with either one of these bristle brushes like this one, or typically would use this small bristle brush. Just put some clear water in it, take a tissue and take some of the water out of it, and just tickle the edge and make sure that we don't have any hard edges setting up here in this thing. And we can get throw some clouds, even some clouds in there, whatever. And I don't know what I'm getting on paper here. I see some marks that I don't like, but maybe I'll leave those on there. They're not going to hurt anything, I don't think. And these trees in the background, I'm going to, while this is still a little wet, I'm going to come back and put a little bit of darker gray in there, sort of put some trees that have a little bit of maybe some green in them, and some of the blue, some of the gray. Just throw in some trees back here in the background to make it look like there's something going on back there. And that'll be enough for that right now. They're pretty far away. I don't want them to take over. I don't want you to spend a lot of time looking over there. The center of interest is going to try to be in this area here, this lower left quadrant. If you know the, I think it's called the rule of nines or something like that, where you have break your paper down into 9 sections, and around any of those intersections, like a tic-tac-toe board, and if any of those intersections should be close to your center of interest. That's just a kind of a basic compositional standard, I guess, if you will. You don't have to abide by it, but many artists do. All right, let's come back and see if we can get a little more, start putting some darker trees in back here. I'm going to get my flat brush and use it to mix with my Hooker's green, ultra blue, dark, and I get a dark, really nice dark blue color here. Maybe add a little bit of the darker blue. I want to put a little bit of this violet in it, and I can get it actually darker than that if I need to. Since this paper is wet, you want to try to have your paint not quite as runny as what you had in there before. So if you take your finger and pull it through like this, this is a Sterling Edwards trick I learned, that paint right there is drier than the other paint that we've been using. So that means that if it's drier, it will go on easier and over something that's wet, and it won't make a big cauliflower or a blossom. So let's see what we can do with this. Let's come in here and put in some of these colors, feather it out, use the side of the brush, come down and leave some holes, come back and maybe add a little bit of yellow. We kind of want to get the lighter green color as we come across here some in this area, and so I'm just going to add some of this yellow with green in it, or cad lemon yellow, and throw some of that in here. Get some nice little feathering at the edges for trees. Another painter I follow is named Tony Couch. I don't know if you've heard of him. You may have heard me talk about him before. He's one of the first watercolor painters that I took some classes off of, and I learned a lot from him in terms of the colors that you use and the how you work with putting things like this in a painting. His theory, he quotes Edgar. I'm losing his name right now. Edgar Whitney. And Edgar Whitney was one of his teachers, and Tony Couch uses a lot of the same techniques that Edgar Whitney used, and he uses a lot of the phraseology, a lot of the same terms, and he would say that this area here, he said, you don't have to worry, what's inside here can just kind of be a dark blob, if you will, because what's going on in here is not what the viewer is going to see. What the viewer is going to see is what's at the edge. So if the edge looks like this is trees, because you got this light feathery stuff out there, the viewer is going to think that's a tree. They're not going to be concerned that you don't have a lot of definition, you don't have 5,000 leaves or anything going on in here. They're going to say that can't be anything else but a tree. So I've heard Tony Couch use that phraseology. Whatever's in the middle doesn't make that much difference. It's what's on the edge that counts. So if you want to make it look like a tree, make the edges look like a tree. So that's kind of the story there. I'm going to start putting in a few of these marks to show where the tree is back here. There's a big tree right back here. Kind of want to outline it a little bit and leave room to put other branches and stuff on it, but right now I'm going to just sort of put something like this in and maybe split it like this, and put another tree trunk in here like that. So I'm just doing negative painting right now, just kind of filling in some of these areas that look like they could use some trees back there. But again, if you look at this, if you see these edges, just say that has to be a tree. It can't be anything else. So I think that's a good way to describe how you do your negative painting, or this type of painting where you don't worry quite as much about what's inside here. Used to be a little darker there. And you focus on what's at the edges. And I'm getting a lot of dry brush here now, because this is I'm standing inside a area that's small and somewhat humid and warm. So anyway, that's kind of my background I want to lay in, and I think maybe just a little more over here. I want to identify another tree over here, and I'll pop in a little bit more of, let's see here, where's that other tree? It's kind of over here like this. We'll make him go that way, like that. And we'll come down and maybe even have another big tree down here somewhere that's poking its head up. And so we can kind of do that. Okay, so now I've got some negative trees going different ways and that sort of thing. And That's good enough. I can put some positive trees over here. When that dries, I'll come back and lay some other stuff in there. But right now, I think I'm going to just stop on that and see, maybe I'll bring this down. I want to make sure I cover this roof area here where this comes out like that, and put a few more things in here to kind of separate and add that texture that I'm looking for with these trees in there. Okay, so that'll be good enough for now. All right, so this is drying up a little bit. It's still got a little water in it, but it's fairly dry. And so I'm going to come back now and see if I can lay in some color for maybe this little roof back here. There's a roof that goes on back there. It needs to be lighter. It will lighten up, but it needs to be lighter right in there. And so I'm defining this roof line now. And down here on this edge, I want to get some more of this gray. Give me a little bit more of my ultra and ultra blue and burnt sienna. And so let's see over here. We've got I want to put some green in that. I need to get some more of this green. It needs to have a little more greenery going on. Over here in this area, I've thrown in a few things that kind of look like we've got stuff going on right there. Now this is where it's a good place to use my my blender brush here, because I want this to be lighter. So I'm going to come in and just take this and sort of change the edges a little bit, blend it together with what's there behind it, and so this is a good way to make some background around there, right? So you don't have to do too much. Even the base, you can tickle the base of this a little bit and start making it look like there's a tree, or there's going to be a tree running up here, but these could be posts, like a fence post, that type of thing. Okay, let's see now. I'm going to get a smaller brush, because I'm getting kind of into this area that's needs to have a little smaller brush on it, I think. Let's see here. I want to make sure. Up here, let's see, what have I got? Like in this area here, I want to get that to be grayer. Add a little of my Payne's Gray, and see if we can get Payne's Gray and my ultra blue. Gives me a nice gray. It's going to be a little darker right along here. I want this to be okay, and as usual, let's feather that edge. Let's bring this down. Now we're painting to the front of this building here, and just the color. If you don't have the right color, you can always come back and lighten it up a little bit, and then just pull it down into the into what you're working on, and it just leaves a really nice. So I'm just painting that with the water that's in this brush, right? So I've got it looks like there's stuff's been running down here like that. So that makes a nice frontage for that building, nice front. I'm gonna go get some of my red. I think I'm gonna get some orange and throw some of this, make some of this rusty color for the roofs. I've got a roof in here that's sort of, actually a whole building right in here that's sort of brownish red, orangish red. I'm going to throw some color into him, make his peak go up there like that. So I'm changing a little bit the what we have, what was in the original. So this is not going to be a total copy because it's almost impossible to copy another painting unless you want to get down to like extremely realistic painting. It's almost impossible to copy. I think that's why there's so many abstracts going around now. So many people like abstracts because they can be one of a kind. You don't have to, matter of fact, it's almost impossible to duplicate an abstract. I've tried to duplicate some and they just don't work. So let's see here, I want to get a little bit of this in here. Let's sort of blend this together a little bit maybe. Change the roof, add a section of roof back there. Okay, just lighten it up a little bit. It lightens that so you can see that roof there. All right, let's come back and now take a little bit on this other roof that's here. I'm really getting a lot of dry brush now because paper just really dried off. So let's do that, pull some of this color up, mix it into there. Okay, so you're seeing the roof appear now. I've got some soft edges and some hard edges, and it's one thing this particular brush is good for. You can take a hard edge and turn it into a soft edge with just a matter of just a flick of the brush, actually. And so over here, let's see, we're going to get some more of this blue. And if you got any questions, please put them in the chat window. I don't see anybody typing anything, so glad you're here, and we'll keep working today and hopefully get this nicely done for you. Here I want to identify the edge of this building here, and again, wet brush, damp, I should say damp, and so now I have this building where we've got the edge of it starting to go out of the light, and I actually softened the wrong edge. I should have softened this edge on this side over here because this should be darker. Where it goes out of the light, it should be darker, but the edge should be sharp. The edge I'm talking about when I say that, I'll show you here, is this edge right here. This should be sharp. And then it should get softer and go around the corner there. That's another tactic or another trick, I guess, that you when a plane of a building goes out of the light, that edge right there should be very sharp, and that's called the change plane accent when you talk about making shadows and that sort of thing. I'm going to put some more of this other colors in here, get me some more yellowish stuff. I got some grasses that are starting to show up now, so I want to put some of this in here along this way, and typically have a little grass or a little greenery showing on the building here, and it should be soft here on this bottom edge too, because it's going to blend in with the grasses and stuff that's below it here. Okay, so you see the building taking shape, and I just keep working across the roof line here, and down in this area here, let's see, I want this to be sort sort of a darkish blue, purplish color. It's kind of under the trees over here, I think. So make it like that. We'll leave a little bit of an edge up there at the top so you can see the separation of that building. It's really like a lean-to type of thing. And put some darker color under him here. Let's see, get some darker color. Purple and like that. Come down here and put a few things in. We're just trying to draw some interesting shapes in this building here. It doesn't go as far down as the other one does, and so we'll leave it at that right now, and touch it up later. All right, so this building over here, I'm going to put some mossy grassiness on the side along here where it comes down and meets the other, that building. That's the side of it, and so we're going to just take our brush and pull it up. So you have light to dark, dark to light, warm to cool, cool to warm. These are all good compositional techniques that are worth studying and learning about, because you need to be able to make things change. You need to give it some, so it's not too boring. If you have just one color going across the page, it gets to be very boring very quickly, and you don't want that. You want to have these changes and variations in them, and so that's what a lot of this is about. All right, let's come back now. I'm going to take my bigger brush here. I'm going to get some of this grass color. I'm going to pull up some of this yellow and a couple of yellows here. I'll just throw a couple of them together, throw in some of that green and maybe a little bit of burnt sienna, and just give myself a kind of a warm late summer type of coloring here. And we'll just start down here and see what this looks like. Okay, let's put something here, a little darker in there, maybe a few more colors. I'm just going to flip this across here and color in the whole bottom here. And this is sort of a nice warm field out there. And so how do I soften those edges? I don't want that much hard edge in there, right? So get my trusty 1-inch bristle brush and make sure the water's out of it. And then we just sort of start tickling the edges here at the top. And as we tickle, we can blend. So this will just sort of give me a nice see how that works, how nice that makes that, nice and soft. You can just sort of blend it out right back into the white paper if you want. So I've got some, looks like clay or dirt here that's sort of and so now I have a lot of light coming right down here. You see that? It's hitting on this side of the barn. This is going to be a little more in shadow. Part of it's going to be hitting this part of the barn. And so that's kind of the, I guess that's the feeling I'm trying to give about this place. It's sort of a hot, sitting out in the hot summer sun. And hi, Lindy. Glad you're here. I'm sorry you have to leave too. Appreciate you being here, and we'll keep going, and we'll get this thing done and out. It'll be online after a while. You can watch it later. Okay, let's go back now to my I think I want to try my 1/2-inch flat again, and come in under here and start putting in a few more things. Actually, the sun is going to come across here. This needs to be darker a little bit in here because of the sun is the building's going to be casting somewhat of a shadow this way, and we'll be having a darker shadow back in this area behind this building right here, and we'll actually darken this edge here and give us a little distinction between the edge of one building and the edge of another. And again, light, and this will soften up some of the edges, pull it up, pull this over, blend it in, get us some shadow going across here like this. And so you can imagine the sun shining over this way. It's making a shadow here. And then in this building back here, I'm going to come back and touch up some more colors in here. Put in a few change of colors. Add me a little bit of blue in some places. And over here we'll maybe put in a window or two. And maybe something that looks like it's the edge of a door, something like that. And those just look kind of blocky, but when you have a tool like this bristle brush, you can just sort of make it look old and so that it's not very distinct. And so I've sort of cut that building off so you can see the bottom of it. Over here, let's see if I can put a few more colors in around these to make it look like we've got some fence posts sitting over here somewhere. There's a fence post, and there's another fence post. And we'll put a thing like this and just let it kind of go off the edge of the paper like that. And maybe a dark area here to show another fence post like this. All right, and those are just sort of, we just soften that out, just blend it right into the background, and you'll just see some things that look like either trees or fence posts. You decide. It doesn't make any difference to me what they are. I just wanted to fill that in with some interesting things over there. And this should be a little darker over here. We'll just sort of throw in some more color. This is sort of a greenish color. And again, we'll soften it up a little bit so it's not real hard edges everywhere. This is the beginning of weeds and stuff like that. So probably got even a few weeds floating along the bottom of this building over here. I want to be honest about it. And we'll just run those up there, soften the bottom, and just add something to that. So we have a little something. I'm going to put a tree going right up here in a little bit, but I want to get that filled in, get this pretty well, the base pretty well filled in here. Another little dark couple things here like that, and now we'll pull this together. Like that, and over here, let's put in a few more really dark. So I really don't have a lot of dark in here yet. I've got a lot of sort of mid-tones, and they tend to get darker and lighter, a whole range of dark tones in here. But right now, that's all I want. So let's see this side over here. I'm going to probably leave that field back there in the back. I may not leave it alone. I may just put some coloring back there. It looks like we've got some grass in the field back there, and blend it together with what's above it and soften out what's below it like that. I'll put some fence posts back there in a minute, and we'll just kind of clean the brush out down on this end and have it all right. How are we doing for this? Up here is really dry now, so this is a good time to come back and start getting into there, and maybe we'll do some some interesting things with the negative painting and putting in some really dark darks. We got a dark here by mixing our purple, our Payne's gray, our dark ultra blue, and we're going to throw some red in there. This scarlet red is a nice dark color to give us some dark background color, and just throw a touch of green in there just to make sure that it's not all black. All right, so that color is going to go here in the background. We're going to start putting in some things here to define these trees just a little better. Here's an area where we can come in and put in a nice dark shape, and we can actually do something like this with it and make it look like we've got another tree hiding back in there. And over here we'll have the same thing going on, and like this, and then over here, you know, we'll come down and do some more. So you can see now the I don't like the way that looks. I'm going to change it, make it like this. Okay, and then you can always come back and soften that a little bit with the this brush. So I'm going to come up here and just tickle the tops so that it sort of blends in very nicely, and we don't have a lot of hard edges everywhere. You want to have some hard edges to separate these tree forms and that sort of thing, but you don't want to have them all to be hard. Okay, that's good enough for that. Over in here, let's see what we can do with this. Maybe we got a little more, let's put a little more greenery in there and see what happens. Over here, maybe. Nice little curve. See, the darker I make this above that roof just pops out now. So I'm just kind of splitting this off, putting it up here like this, pulling it down like that, a little more here. So you see what's happening here is the really darks are making those, anything lighter than the dark is really showing up. So we got these floating out in here, add some more darks in here. Pick up some of this and throw a few more darker shapes in here to kind of show some more shadows, if you will, that type of thing. And so we'll just kind of put those out there and let them sort of blend together a little bit in some areas. Take some this brush and pull it together like that. So these trees are really looking white. I should have put a little more color in them, and I can do that, but I don't want it to bleed over into some of the other stuff I got going on here. So let's we'll wait on that for just a little bit, but let's put in a few more things here above this barn, and we got ourselves a little chimney type of thing going on right here, I think. So we'll leave that go. That, and I just want to make sure the tops of these buildings are nicely outlined for you, so you can actually see the architectural shape of them. So I don't have to do a whole lot in here. This is all just kind of says a bunch of trees, right? If I do some splatter on that, throw some darks in there, it'll look like there's something going on, but I'll just put a few more dark shapes in here to make it look like we've got some three-dimensionality. If we can get 2 or 3 values in a given shape, you can show some three-dimensionality, which is what I'm really trying to do here. Okay, so much for that. Let's come back now and see if we can, I think maybe this is going to be workable. Let's try to put a little more color, just some color in here to help give us a rough old tree back there. And Same with a couple of these. Just throw a few touches in. Don't have to make them all. Not trying to fill it in like I would a coloring book, but I just wanted to make them have some color in them so we don't have so much white sticking us in the face out here. Okay. All right. Down here, let's put just a little in this area right here. Okay, I think I've got some clear distinction between the roof and that tree, which is what I want to make sure we have. In here, let's use a little more of that color from up there, and let's put a few things in this section along here. We'll throw in a couple of things that look like some vertical boards going there. I don't know what we got. We might have a little window into there somewhere. Doesn't have to be architecturally perfect. It doesn't even have to be all squared off and done the way an architect would do it. But we want to have some things that look like people have a way to get in and out of these little buildings here. Throw a door in here like that. Maybe there's a little window up there somewhere like that. And soften this edge a little bit over here. Want to have a sharp edge on this side. Something like that. This area over here needs some more dark in it. Let's put a few dark things going like this. And looks like there's some something going on inside there, either that's either posts or something holding something up, or it gives you a little depth to look in there. So I think that's pretty good there. Okay, I don't know if that's a barn or a house. It looks more like a house now, but that's all right. How are we doing on time? 42 minutes. Okay, I want to finish this up here shortly and throw another couple of fence posts in here, kind of beat up a little bit, and maybe there's a one coming down like that and something over here. Try to make them a little bit different so they're not identical. Don't want to have them to be the same width, the same height, and those are pretty much the same of everything. I'm going to come back and put a little darker on a couple of them here. And so that's not too bad there. Over here, I think I want to give a little more distinction to this building there. I didn't even know what that is back there. I just put a little roof on it and made it look like a building back there, and it's gonna have to do. So let's throw in some things that look like they might be part of the architecture. I don't know. And we're getting close. I want to put that tree in. We're going to get the round brush out now. I'm going to get my script liner and try to put a big old tree in here that just sort of runs up the side of the painting. From here, this is all dry. So I'm going to start it in here, and I'm going to run it like right into this white area I've got there, right? And I'm going to come back on top of it. I'm going to pull back a little bit and something like that, and we'll throw in some something like that. It needs to be a little bit fatter right in here, I think. Let's put a little darker side on him on the left side here. This needs to be a little fatter, maybe like that. Yeah. And then take our brush and just sort of merge this together so we have a light going to dark, dark going to light, and up here maybe take a little bit out, lighten it up, And so you see there's a tree there. It's not extremely well defined, but it's good enough for what we want. It could be a dead tree. It's probably, which should have some branches on it and stuff like that. Or I mean, not branches, but some leaves and that sort of thing. But right now we'll just leave it like this. Come in here and put a little bit of a thing on here to kind of identify that roof just a little more there. More here. Let's put a little identifier there. Something like this. So I'm just kind of doing some final touch-ups so that help this thing along. Got some things running down like this, some of the roof things. We might even have some shadows on here. I'm going to put in a few more tree branches up here. This thing goes up into there, maybe have a few things sticking out back here to fill that yellow space in. We don't need to have all that sticking up. Got some more, there's some more trees in here. These are my positive trees now. Like that. Put a few more things in here. And something here like this. Maybe there's a few more things there. I don't know. I'm starting to fuss and fiddle, right? So I don't want to do too much of that. But these little calligraphy type marks kind of help with tying stuff together. In here, this needs to be probably a little darker and needs to be joined with what's up above it. Same with this one here. So that tree needs to have just a few shadows floating around it maybe that help it. Okay, what else can I do here? I think I'm pretty good. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I want to put some more grasses down here. Get some of this junk that's in the palette, whatever it is, get something that's darker than here. And let's come in and see if we can, on the bottom of this tree, we'll throw in a few like that. And get a few more darks. Come on, let's get some darker stuff here. Over this way. Like that. Over here we've got some areas that we might throw in a few grasses. Just leave a little area for people, for the eye to kind of come in and walk around in there. And I don't want this to be hard edged on the bottom, right? You want to soften some of that out. So just soften a few of those edges, pull it together, and like that. What else can I do here? I think I've got pretty good darks in there, a good pattern of darks, a good pattern of lights. Maybe you want to put just a few more little dark accents around here that could kind of help. It's not really dark enough. It's really pretty bland. All right, I'll just leave that as a something that kind of blends to that roof a little bit. Give that roof a little color there so it's not totally white. Here we might have a few vertical boards of some kind. Could be something out there that is usable. It might be a all right. I'll keep fiddling with this and I'll make it worse. So I want to just sort of finish up by putting in a few more calligraphy strokes here with some dark. This will help push everything back if I put these big grassy strokes in the front of this like this. That kind of makes everything look like it goes back a little bit. I want the bottom of these to sink into the ground. I don't want them to look like I glued them on. A few more little streaks in here. Something like this. All right, let's stop. I'm gonna put my name on it. I think I'll probably won't do any more on this. I don't know, I may touch it up a little bit after I stop the streaming, but let's put my name right here. Okay, that is a nice watercolor painting in the style of Sterling Edwards. And if you've not watched any of his videos, look him up. SterlingEdwards.com is his website. The other artist I mentioned was Tony Couch. His website's TonyCouch.com. And actually, Tony Couch is coming to Lakeland, Florida in October. So if you are in the area or can get to the area and would like to see a 3-day workshop of Tony Couch, I would recommend it. I'm helping support it through our Lakeland Art Guild, and I'm sending out brochures to people that are interested. If you have an interest in that particular workshop, send me your email address, and I will send you the flyer and the details. It's 3 days. Tony does give a very good lecture on the elements, principles and elements of design, and so it's going to be a fun 3 days for the people that show up here in Lakeland. So if you're nearby, please contact me. My email address is my name, Larry Hamilton, at msn.com. So you can send over a query and I will send you back the information. And so I think that's about all I would like to do now, and pull this over toward the center and let you see it's not exactly like the other one, which I knew it wouldn't be. I'll show you what I had here to start with. That's what I had to start with, and so this one is similar but different. So anyway, let me zoom back and I'll say thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning into this live broadcast. I hope it came through without any sound difficulties, and I'll find out shortly when I start listening to the video. And if you like it, please like this. If you not a subscriber, please subscribe and share it with your friends and tell them to check me out. If you like the music ahead of time while you were waiting, Antonio Romo is still I'm still playing his music on my channel, and he lets me do that, and I want to give him credit. So check out his website, antonioromo.com, as well. And check out my website, check out my Facebook page. The few images that you have to work with here are on my website, and I have one with the grid, I have one with the just the original photo that I work from, and I have one that's all the color taken out of it, so it's kind of like a black and white. So anyway, that's, I think, all I wanted to say to you today. I'm really glad to be back, able to do a 1-hour painting without having physical problems. And so until I see you again, this is Larry Hamilton saying so long for now. Bye-bye.